I would love to welcome Darryl Booker to our grant writing series. Thank you so much for being here today to kick off and talk more about this nonprofit tech acceleration program with Microsoft.
Thank you, and hello everyone. Thanks for that, Tarek. Can you hear everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
We're good. Okay. Thank you all. Thank you for your time today. Pretty excited to be talking to you all here in Charlotte and telling you all about this opportunity. I'm very much a conversational type of person, so feel free if you want to just hop right in, ask me a question. I'll try to look at the chat as well. But I definitely want to make sure that this is, a good session to where you get everything that you need to know to not only learn about the opportunity that we have here at Microsoft, but just also the real thing is, how do we set y'all up to, get some of that AACF money that they're going to be handing out, and make sure that you have everything in place and can be one of those grantees for them. So with that said, I'm gonna share my screen. It would be cool if, somebody wants to maybe shout out what organization they're with, or what do you do? Who's not shy? I'll pick on people too.
Hey, this is A.W. Burgess with Family Mankind. I'm the National Executive Director and we're based right here in Charlotte. And we are domestic violence experts and trauma-informed care experts. We passionately work with domestic violence offenders.
All right, thank you. Thank you for the work that you do.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Give me at least one more.
Hi, I'm Sonia Lee with the Lionel Lee Jr. Center for Wellness. We are a health and wellness organization that assists people who are uninsured and underinsured to obtain their basic overall health and wellness needs. Thank you for being here today.
No, thank you. And I'm sure you've been pretty busy the last year dealing with COVID. So thank you.
Hi, Daryl. My name is
You're
Karen
welcome.
Lucas Walker. I have an organization called Yay God. Was formerly Yay God. We're in the process of rebranding and relaunching. The new name will be Girls for Girls Mentoring. Our mission is to empower the young Black and Brown women to have the confidence to make enriching life choices. And we mentor girls from the age of 12 to young adulthood. We've been doing this since 2001. So I'm proud to say I've got young girls that we followed now that are young ladies, college graduates, that are celebrating 30 years, being 30 years this month. I just saw some posts on Facebook. So glad to have you here and to learn what you guys have to offer.
No, thank you for the work that you do. I think of why we're here today. I think about our Black communities, and we think about getting into college and then into that career, and the hurdles, and even as a Black man, I know what I've experienced. I know it's almost sometimes like 5 or 10 times harder for our young Black females to succeed. So thank you for that. I mean, all types of confidence, leadership, mentorship programs is more of what's needed around here. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so maybe I'll get started. So thank you and welcome to learn more about this nonprofit tech acceleration for Black and African American communities. I wanted to level set us. I don't think any of this is new, but let's really remember where we are right now, and we're in what's called a crisis. And that's the deadly combination, three-way combination of COVID-19, economic recession, and racial injustice that has plagued people of color, or affected people of color. And if we look at these three things that are happening right now, even when we go back a year ago, and when this pandemic started, the first thing that we heard was there'll be a vaccine. There was always that time will come where there'll be a vaccine. History has shown when we have these epidemics and pandemics that our medical community rises to the occasion and gets us where we need to be. Unfortunately, we did have to lose a lot of lives, but here we are now with, a light at the end of the tunnel. And we look at the economic recession, not the first recession. Over history, we've been in and out of recessions. All those great economic people will tell us, yeah, we'll be out of it by X amount of time, and certain things will get better, et cetera, et cetera. But if I look at that third one there, that racial injustice, I don't know about y'all, but I'm not seeing a light at the end of the tunnel like I did some of these other things. Or there's not the history of, that will come and go. This is something that has been around for 400 plus years, and we got a lot of work to be able to address these issues. And it's not just about what someone else can do for this community, but also what this community can do to be able to help ourselves to prosper and empower everyone that's part of the community. So with that said, that is where we are at least trying to, and what I'm at least trying to do is level a certain playing field, at least in terms of technology. So this program, what is it? How did it start? If we go back to last year and the murder of George Floyd, and we all know what was happening across the country, including Charlotte, Microsoft as a whole set out on some racial equity commitments. A lot of those were things that we will be doing in-house, such as working more with HBCUs, and there's plenty in the North Carolina area, working with the HBCUs, hiring more Blacks, more in leaderships, diversifying our suppliers, providing capital to minority-owned banks. But then there's also some things that we would need to do to directly strengthen our communities, whether that is providing the appropriate digital skilling, helping with broadband affordability and device affordability issues. And then there is the NTA for short, this particular program, which is all about working with nonprofits like you all that are at the heart of the work that's happening in Charlotte, and working with the community and ensuring that you have everything that you need to do so that you can continue to provide that great healthcare assistance, that you can mentor as many people as possible, to really build our next set of entrepreneurs like Do Greater Charlotte is doing. That is what we said, and what I am set out to do is to really just give you all the power that you need to be really successful. Now I'm pausing. Anybody say anything, just hop right in. Well, good. So what is the benefit of this program? What do you get? How is this going to help us, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So when I look at, on the surface, the benefits in terms of licensing, software, et cetera, it really kind of starts, and it's not the first item, but the second item on the left is ensuring that you all are leveraging our Microsoft 365 platform and the 10 licenses that you can get. And, maybe for some of you all, staff isn't bigger than 10, that covers everything. So that is your Word, Excel, your PowerPoint, your email, but also thinking about, Microsoft Teams for video chat, for collaborating in documents, for chatting, for having a space to be able to invite your board members in to see documents, to collaborate. That is what Teams is really set out to do. It is that one platform that could be a replacement for Zoom, which we're using, but some of y'all may be using Zoom and Slack and something else. Teams can bring all of that together. And just providing for you all at least the peace of mind that you all can have the basics in terms of productivity and collaboration free of charge. There's also 5 Dynamics licenses, and you say, all right, Darrell, what is Dynamics? What does that do? So that is our platform that allows you to use several modules of a bunch of things that every one of you all need. you know, whether that's HR, there's payroll. When we think of donor management, grant management, volunteer management, fundraising, marketing, all of these particular tools that you all should be using as an organization to ensure that you know you're staying on top of everything, and you have it all in one central place, and not necessarily you know, using a lot of different apps. Or, you know, there's a lot of organizations that still basically on paper. And to me, even just, you know, we got it all in Excel spreadsheet. To me, that is still basically just one step up above, you know, from using paper. And then at the top left, you see $3,500 in Azure credits. That is our cloud computing platform. So if I can give you the simplest things that you can do with that, just host your website up there. If you're paying, you know, some IT company down the street, you're paying them a bunch of money a month to host your website, you can bring that over to our cloud platform. You know, backing up any, you know, data that you all may have on computers, servers, a bunch of different things. Maybe the work you do, there's a lot of images, videos, you're streaming something. All of these are some of the things that you can do. That's just the bare minimum of the things that you do in the cloud. And we provide you $3,500 annual credit towards that, you know, which more than likely will cover a lot of your needs. And then the other thing is 10 Power Apps licenses. And Power Apps, you know, is our solution that can allow you as an organization to really quickly put together some solutions without the need for a developer. So, you know, you have this event and you have volunteers, and, you know, you need to collect information from each student who comes in. And when you collect the information, it needs to send the email, and then it needs to do this and it needs to do that. You know, how do you get someone to build and put those processes together so that you all can work really efficiently? And this allows you to do that without a developer. It's essentially a lot of dragging and dropping and, you know, very no code way that you all can build some of these solutions that you may need to be as effective as possible. And then across all of these, if you end up needing more licenses, there is actually a discount that you can get for that. And then I'm gonna pause for a minute. Any questions on the solutions, the costs?
Is there a time limit on how long that access to these wonderful benefits will last for a grantee?
No benefit. As long as you are a nonprofit 501c3, you qualify to get these, and they will be around for the foreseeable future. I have no reason to believe that at any moment these will be removed.
Follow up concerning that, Jatanya Adams with the Historic West End Partners in Historic West End, Charlotte. My question is, we have already begun to go down this road a little bit. I think it's the same program from what I'm saying. And my question is, later on at any point, should we anticipate costs? Reason being, of course, we've seen some other applications where you kind of build your whole enterprise around it. And then there's a shift, and you are either trying to figure out how to cover costs or remove your or merge your content elsewhere if you can't afford it. So I wanted to be clear before we build everything on it.
I want to make sure I understand your question. I would say, you know, there's always a possibility. Anytime you deal with any type of software or tech, you know, there's a certain amount out of the box that's going to meet your needs. And then there's every scenario there could be, but you know, what is more we can do? What can be added on or customized? So depending on what it is, because it really could depend. You know, there could be a situation where there's more you can do, and it may need some further customization, but you know, some of these things could be a situation that, you know, if you have that savvy person, you got that right person on staff, some of these things, you know, it doesn't take rocket science. It doesn't take, you know, a skilled professional to give you what you need. But in certain cases, you may be looking at something that's a little that you need that's more robust. I mean, that is always the case. I think when I get into how our concierge team works, I think that'll answer that question a little bit more for you. But with that, anybody have any other questions around the licenses? And I'll also provide a couple more examples on how you can use some of those. Oh, go ahead.
This is Carmen Blackman with Above and Beyond Students, and we provide academic programs for students in Charlotte-Mecklenburg school systems. And we currently have Microsoft Office and several of the licenses. So will we be able to switch to the free platform for nonprofits, and would we be disqualified because we currently have the licenses?
Yeah, sorry, you're out of luck. I'm just joking. Y'all are a real quiet crowd. I gotta get somebody to laugh. No, yes, you can. So if you're a nonprofit and you didn't know about this existed, and it's, we run across this every day. Yes, we'll get you through the program, and then we'll convert. We'll help you to convert any of those paid licenses over to the free one. So yes, definitely.
Actually, thank you.
Mm-hmm. So the other, and this to me is, go ahead, somebody. Maybe not. What I was going to say is,
what are the hardware requirements to run all this?
You said what are the hardware requirements? I think you said what are the hardware.
Yes.
Nothing to elaborate. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention too is for each of those business premium licenses, you also get, I think it's three. You get to use the licenses on 3 devices. So even if you think of you as one person as a staff, you could use it on your computer, your tablet, your phone. You can get all of those under one license. I will also say these licenses also come with the web versions of all of this. So if for some reason you got, the slowest of the slowest computer or something, and it's struggling with the download installed version, hopefully that you should be able to access the web applications. I mean, and we build all these tools knowing that there's a variety of devices. So, the product group works really hard to try to make it as compatible as possible to somewhat of the newer technology. I did see a question someone had, and they said, is there any training on this? And the answer is absolutely yes. Unfortunately, due to that, one of those crisis things, the pandemic, we had to close all the Microsoft stores around the country. Well, instead of letting all those employees go, Microsoft repurposed all of them to virtual trainers, strictly for nonprofits. So when you think about every piece of the software that I mentioned, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Teams, etc., you can get customized virtual training for you and your organization. So if you said, hey, it's 5 of us, we really like this thing called Teams. We want to learn how to make that the center of all of our document and collaboration. We really don't know how to use it. Help us understand how to use Teams. They will conduct a virtual session specifically for your organization and get you the training that you need. And it could be even, small pieces of our offerings. 2 things I didn't mention that just happen and comes with 365 Business Premium. There is Microsoft Project, which is, kind of a project management tool similar to Asana, Trello, things of that sort. That's just part of that license. And then the other one, I'll give you an example. One of my organizations reached out to me and say, hey, Darrell, we're thinking about buying licenses for Calendly, the scheduling tool. We heard there's Microsoft Bookings. Can you give us training on that? Because if we like that, we'll use that. So Microsoft Bookings is also an offering within the 365 Business Premium that you get. So I reached out to that training team. They contacted them, did a special tutorial workshop on how to use Bookings. They ended up going with that and then save that cost of actually having to use Calendly. So yes, you can get as much training as your heart desires. Also with that too, I'm kind of going down a tangent just slightly. There's also a colleague who runs part of Microsoft that will also do training for your beneficiaries. So if you're providing like those mentoring classes for the youth, or coding classes, or different things, or workforce development classes, not only will they conduct classes just for your participants, it's not all needs to be Microsoft related thing. So if you want to have even though we own LinkedIn, but if you have a whole LinkedIn workshop to help them understand how to build out their LinkedIn profile, resume building, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, there's opportunity for training down to your program participants as well. And as part of this program, the real beauty for me is this concierge team. And I think this may end up answering a question. So not only are you getting this software, but the way this works is once you sign up, within a day, you should be getting an email from one of our concierge agents. Right now, it's only 2. It's Tiffany or Caroline. So one of them would be contacting you, and they would give you a link to book time on their calendar. So within a couple of days, you all can be on the phone with Microsoft. And I don't even know if y'all even really realize the significance of that. This is essentially the first time period that there's been any type of program in place where, a small organization can have essentially a direct contact to Microsoft. Prior, it was an email address, and may or may not get a response back in some weeks or something. You would put in like a ticket system. This is a dedicated team for you. So what Tiffany and Caroline does is they are, tasked with understanding you as an organization, and, all right, what is your mission? What are you doing? And, within that conversation, they try to unlock what are your roadblocks that tech could solve, or what are those future things that you can do that technology could solve. And from there, they kind of play air traffic control to the specialist that's solely for this program, that will help you migrate over, say, from Gmail to 365, or get you going with Teams, or building a company intranet using SharePoint. Switching over from saving documents on your computer or Google Drive to leveraging OneDrive, and how all of that all plays together. Or whatever else it may be that, our technology will align you to. This concierge team will help you. And there's no rhyme or reason to how much they will help you. When I designed not only this program, but actually this team, I wanted to make sure that we built this in a manner where it was an experience for the organization that's coming in back to, no one's just been able to really just have Microsoft at their disposal. So what they try to do is within, a few touch points, whether that's 2 phone calls, 3 phone calls, or 4, there's no rhyme or reason. Try to hopefully get you to that next level, or those next 2 levels. A lot of that sometimes may be dependent on you and who's on the other end. So if you got, that IT savvy person, or cousin or nephew or whatever, that you can get them on the phone with the team because they can work a little faster and know these things, I would suggest that, because that is the, more you can actually get out of this concierge team absolutely free of charge. So this is, tech consulting to get you going absolutely free of charge. And then from there, if there's a need for you to do more, and more meaning, you really have something advanced, something really customized, somehow it's beyond the skill set of the team. We as Microsoft do rely on our partner ecosystem. So we would then refer you a warm handoff, bring in one of our partners to be able to take you that extra mile. And rest assured, these partners that we're bringing in are partners that I feel are empathetic and right towards this audience. As part of, remember I told you Microsoft's commitments to diversify our suppliers and partners, there's a whole Black Partner Growth Initiative. So I'm even supporting that mission by going and find those Black-led tech companies to be the partners that I hand off to you all when you all need help. That is, one of the ways that not only are, we're trying to hit on a lot of our racial equity commitments, but we're also trying to see how we holistically can help communities. It's not only, giving you the nonprofits what you all need, but also then providing opportunities, for these tech companies, these entrepreneurs that are growing out of Charlotte that never knew they could be a Microsoft partner, and Microsoft will fund them, not everybody, but may fund them to get their thing built. But then here's the beauty of it. Actually, Microsoft will then put their sales team to work selling on your behalf. If you build this great solution that's for healthcare that runs on Microsoft technology, their entire healthcare team has something at their disposal that as they talk to hospitals in different groups, they're pitching that solution on your behalf. So I got off on a little tangent, but I wanted to really hit home, this experience of what happens when you come in with the concierge team, what they can do for you, and then what are the opportunities when you need to do more. And I'll pause if there's any questions. Nothing? Okay. Good stuff.
There was a question in the chat.
I'm not saying, there it is. Well, so first of all, don't think of this as a cohort. This is, you come in and you're in for life, and that's another great point. So, you come in, the concierge team may help you with something, you're like, I'm good, and you go off, and 4 months later you come back and be like, all right, I'm ready for that CRM now. Well, we're right here. We'll pick right up and help you with that CRM from there. So I'm not, when you say Microsoft 365 training for nonprofits, if you're talking about something that you're just getting training for, then no, that does not, prevent you from coming into being part of this NTA program. There's nothing that you could have been doing or currently doing that would disqualify you from coming over here. Absolutely nothing. I will say one thing though. I mentioned 501c3. We do have part of our donation eligibility, and this goes like really, really far up, that there's a requirement to be a 501c3 in order to get those free and discounted licenses that I mentioned. But if you happen to be a C6, C7, or if you're currently fiscally sponsored, you cannot get the donated license, but you still have full access to the concierge team. So you still can get that tech consulting, which honestly, I feel like is the biggest value, especially if you're a smaller organization. I think, the monthly cost, if you had to pay for it out of pocket, usually isn't the biggest hindrance. It's really, that tech talent putting it all together for that fits your needs.
There was a big push for people to join NTA group, but they didn't label it also with the word African American or Black. It was just an NTA for nonprofits, right? And so I accepted that one in the Azure credits, and I just cut that language, Microsoft 365 training for nonprofits, from it. And I just wondered, is this the same thing? It sounds similar, but this cohort, well, not cohort, but this group in this conversation sounds a little bit more specialized than the other did.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is you're referring to, but we'll get you going with this, and we'll make sure you get everything that you need. How's that?
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. I wanted to spend just a couple minutes showing you all a couple of solutions that I think you all could like, and I'm hoping you all would take advantage of it. The first is called Microsoft Community Training, and let's think about pandemic and organizations needing to pivot and go virtual. And I think a lot of organizations, not right away, but I think they realize, okay, just getting people on a camera, and that is not the same as delivering said curriculum in person. You just miss so much. So it's almost like, how do you be able to, as much as you can, replicate a little bit more structure Plus also give people the opportunity to continue learning when they have Zoom fatigue. Like, I'm tired of being in front of this camera. Like, what else can I do? So we created something called Microsoft Community Training, and it's essentially free. And I'll tell you what I mean by essentially free in a minute. But it's a learning management platform that we've built, that you can have something ready to literally just upload your content. So no need for you to go out and find somebody to build, the Do Greater Charlotte entrepreneur learning system. You can start with one button a day. You can deploy this. You can upload all your content. Your content could be videos. It could be PowerPoints, PDFs, Excel files. You can even add your own HTML. And then essentially what you can do is design a curriculum that has, a lesson and then courses. You can implement, practice quizzes, and then you can have an exam at the end, and then you provide people certifications. It's already, of course, web, mobile friendly, as well as an Android app that you can download. But the real beauty of it is you can completely personalize it and customize it. So it has your name, your branding, your learning platform. You don't have to build the learning platform. All you got to do is spend time uploading probably a bunch of materials that you have already, and really be able to, let me go back. Sorry about that. I thought I had a slide that shows you, you can track all the progress of your students. You can see all the analytics around, what they've completed, how long they've completed, etc. And when I say essentially free, it's no cost to download it. There's no user cost. It runs in our Azure cloud. So if we go back to that $3,500 a year Azure credit, in order to have this running in your Azure cloud, there's a monthly cost. I think the more robust systems we've seen, it may be around $200 a month. So even at $200 a month for the year, that $3,500 will still cover the complete cost of community training. So, learning platforms over the last, 7 months has probably been the number one thing me and the team have been hearing as a need in helping organizations with across the country. It's almost a no-brainer.
Quick question. Will the Azure credits be renewed every year?
Yes, it renews automatically on your anniversary date. You don't have to do anything. It just happens. You claim them the very first time, they're in your account, and they just renew.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Are they rollover credits?
No, that's not. Who did that first? AT&T had rollover minutes back in the day. No, ain't no no rollover credits. But what what I would tell you is, let's find out how we maximize it. Use every dime of it. Just understanding the crowd and not being too technical. There's so much things that can happen in Azure. One of the things is I gave a whole talk yesterday about AI and this concept of conversational AI and how you add chatbots to your websites, but not the old basic website chatbots that's like, it only answers a couple questions. It's not that smart. But, we have technology to build, really sophisticated conversational based chatbots that, someone is not only going to look for something or get something out of, some information from your organization, or, someone is already part of, a program or something, for them to be able to have self-service and be able to get the information they need and not have to talk to someone. Leveraging and putting a bot not on your website, but it also can be added to Facebook Messenger. Y'all been on Facebook before, and then maybe like a company or something, they have like a whole little chat thing. Same technology, WhatsApp, SMS. So you think about ways that you communicate with people. For some reason, text message is coming back strong. That a lot of organizations are leveraging text messaging to reach people. So in our Azure cloud, you can have all those components to be able to do that. Azure cloud also is where we would place where you would put, and when I all urge y'all to write this term down and say, this guy Darrell on this thing said we need this, and it's called an enterprise data warehouse. It is absolutely critical that you all have in your Azure presence a central repository of your data. And the reason I say that is, I don't care what tool you're using. I don't care if you're using QuickBooks or HubSpot or this or that or whatever, especially these SaaS applications where you're very dependent on getting data from out of that system and being, really hampered around how you interact with that data. You all need to be building processes so that on a regular basis, you're bringing all that data from all these places and you're putting it in a central place that you can control. So at the end of the day, if you stop working with somebody or something goes down or you cancel something, you've got your data. Not only do you have your data, but you also now have your data in Azure to where you all can start doing some analytics off of it. And when we think about AACF, and when it's time to ask you for that grant report and they want to know how, what happened with the money, how many more kids did you, or what happened, to be able to have that data, to be able to really come back, not only from the grant reporting purposes, but then also for yourself as a nonprofit to understand, okay, are we really having the outcomes that we thought we would have? Like, I think we do, but, let's look at the data. And until you can bring all of those things in a place to where you can, even if it's at a minimum, leveraging our Power BI tool to be able to, have reports, visualizations, et cetera. If you just do that at a minimum, like at least be able to see, be able to click and drill and filter the data, that's a whole lot more than not having that. But at least having all that data, that's when, you can get that college sophomore who's majoring in computer science and knows Python and needs an intern project to, hack on your, not only the word hack, but, work on your data and be able to give you some amazing insight that you never saw before, that they can be able to take your data and then maybe bounce it against other subsets of data. Working with a justice reform organization that is, they're collecting data within their case management system, but they're also pulling data, arrest records. They're pulling this, they're pulling all these other pieces of data from other external sources and bringing it in. So I was on a tangent. Oh, but what I was about to say is, if you think you're about to have some rollover credits, that means there's a lot more things that, we could be doing. I say we, because we in this together, we could be doing with you to make sure that you are maximizing all these things to their fullest potential. I'm looking in the chat. Somebody said I live in Atlanta, participating in the program. Absolutely. This is a national program. I'm just showing love to Charlotte, but this is a national program. It's even if you're a nonprofit that's based here, but you're doing work in another country. I have a nonprofit that is based, I think, in New York, but 100% of their work is in Haiti. There are some great things in Haiti. They are, can participate in this program and access all the benefits. How we doing? Everybody good? I got like one more thing I want to show y'all, and then we good? All right. I mentioned, some of the, looking at the other side of the house, and the side of the house I call like getting your whole house in order. And we released something called the Nonprofit Operations Toolkit. It's built on that Power platform that I mentioned. So 10 free licenses for your internal users to use it. And this was our attempt at creating that one thing that can be installed, that can be the hub for every single nonprofit, and really for the smaller ones. I think back to that question of, having to spend more and do different things, larger nonprofits, end up having to, go with a lot more expensive and more complicated systems. Sometimes maybe they were just sold a dream and that's why they went there. But we really wanted to say, okay, what is that solution that's going to be no cost? It runs on a Power platform that I just told you, you get 10 licenses for, so it doesn't cost you anything to have this. But what is that thing that that person out of passion, and there was so many of these nonprofits that were spun up in the last year due to COVID, due to the protests. If I'm starting a nonprofit today and you said, all right, what is that first piece of software so that I can start at least, have my house in order? That is the Nonprofit Operations Toolkit. I mean, as you can see here, just being able to do, financial pieces, the funding, managing your funders, the donor reporting, managing the awards that you're getting, project management, even on the right, time and expense tracking. So, if you do have, a team and you need to track their time and things of that sort, you can do that within here. This is that one platform that, even if I get the people to say, well, I like Gmail, I don't want to come over to office. I'm not going to argue with you, and people say, no, I like Teams, I like Zooms, I don't want to use Teams. Okay, I'm not going to argue. I'll try to be able to, show where the differences are. Don't get me wrong, we are better than those things I mentioned, but, I understand people, kind of, get used to something. But this is that one that I personally have a desire, whether it happens or not, but I really truly hope that every single one of nonprofits and installs this and uses this, especially if you're not using anything else to do these. If you're doing this stuff on an Excel spreadsheet, you need a real application to be able to help you manage a lot of these things. I'm gonna pause. Any questions? Is there anything in the chat? Nope. So
I did have a question.
Okay.
Jasmine, my organization is called Amplify and Activate, and we use mindfulness tools to help unlearn systems of harm, systemic oppression. And so my question was about the data. It is housed in an enterprise with Microsoft. What access does Microsoft have to that data?
Yes, so none. There is no Microsoft employee that has the back key to any data. The data is yours. There's an entire, governance best practice and security best practices that, we urge, a lot of people to be able to use so that, not only is it secure from a standpoint of, maybe someone externally getting into it, but then also ensuring that you hold the keys to your kingdom. I mean, if it makes you, kind of understand the level of security, Microsoft Azure is certified at different federal levels and different things. So when we look at, the federal government and storing of data, it's happening in the Azure cloud and it's secure. No one has access to it but you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So Daryl, I have a question, please.
Mm-hmm.
This is Carmen Blackman again. And so I just wanted to know, as we try to utilize these platforms that you're telling us about, like the financial platform, the data, and stop using Excel spreadsheets, but using what Microsoft has, about how much time would a employee need to invest as far as like training and learning the new systems that you will be introducing to us?
It could vary. And, the approach I would say is, baby steps. Like I'm not at all suggesting, do it all at one time. Really start with the low hanging fruits for us, and the path that we try to is we really start getting you on Microsoft 365 for those that are willing to, migrate over from Gmail. And the reason is, once you get that Microsoft 365, and that is where identity starts. When you think of my users and their password, everything starts with that 365 identity. It kind of just naturally unlocks, your mind and your thinking in ways of, okay, how is all of this going to work together? You follow what I'm getting at? So we start there with the things, all right, all we're doing is saying switching from Gmail to Outlook, it's still email. We're saying, switch from Zoom to Teams, it's still video conferencing. Switch from Slack to Teams, it's still chat. Like, let's get you comfortable with the things that you know how to do, that's just been using different software. And then I think you'll see it's a natural transition to this. We want more. We want more. So there's no clear answer. It depends. You know, but one of the things that I suggest that, you know, everybody takes advantage of is, you know, definitely, like I said, utilizing that stores team, and we can connect that for you, make that happen so that they can do as much training as you want. That, I mean, it doesn't cost, you know, you can have it as extensive as you want. And then also, I think, you know, one of the things that's happened at all levels is, you know, finding those champions so that we can do a lot of train the trainer models. So depending on what particular area it is, you know, instead of maybe having to spend a lot of time training everybody on how to use some of those, you know, finance operation tool, let's just spend the time and make sure one person really gets it, and then we kind of go from there. So I hope that was somewhat of an okay answer.
Yes, it was very helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I'll just say, I don't know how somebody, well, if any more questions come in, so you can scan that QR code, or you can go to that link, aka.ms/Microsoft Communities, and a form's going to come up. Just some basic information, and then, like I said, within a day, you should be starting to get contacted with people. Do we have any other questions? Because it's a slide I forgot to put in here, and someone, I'm gonna stop sharing for a second so I can pull it up super quickly. Someone put in there and asked, what are the benefits of 365 and Teams over Gmail? And ironically, today I actually got a nice graphic that I'll show up that'll show you some of those things. But in the meantime, does anybody possibly have any other questions?
Hi, Darrell. This is it Daryl or Darrell? I'm sorry.
It's Darrell.
Darrell. Question about, is there a nonprofit size minimum that, like, there's a nonprofit that might be too small for you to have a capacity, or this just not be the right time?
Oh, that is an absolute great question. I don't care if you're a one-person nonprofit teaching coding classes to 2 people a week, not too small. There's no minimum whatsoever, because I'm a firm believer. One, you know, y'all are doing this work out of passion, and so many of y'all look to figure ways to say, all right, how can I do more and more? So you may be quote unquote small now, but that doesn't mean you'll always be small. So we want to make sure that you have you know, that proper foundation as soon as possible. Anything else?
That was a great question. I just want to ask as well, are there any requirements other than the 501c3? Will we have to have financial reviews and budgets for the next 6 months or 6 years? All of those things that are generally requested when seeking funding?
No, none, absolutely none of those things. It's very much, it's just that 501c3 requirement to get the, so let me back up a minute. So when you fill out that form, that gets you in the pipeline, in the program. You're in the program. The only reason you will get disqualified for this program is if we find out you're not a 501c3. I'll tell you something funny. Someone put in a thing one time, and they were a carpet cleaning business, and they tried to justify as to why they should be part of the program. It was really funny, but I was like, no, you're not a nonprofit. But as long as you are a nonprofit, you're in the program. You have access to the concierge team. The only thing that you may not ultimately get as through the process with the concierge team is there's the 501c3 verification. And it is not anything financial records, none of that. It is simply, you know, verifying that you do have that, you know, that tax code identification, and then you're in.
I have a question about in the chat. Is this open to 501c4 organizations?
Yeah, so same thing. So the 4s cannot get the free licenses, but you can get all the everything else I said as far as the concierge. Same thing for the 6s, the 7s, etc. It is a 501c3 stipulation for the actual donated licenses.
I have a quick question. Sorry. So what are the costs associated? I heard something. Mm-mm.
What was that? Did we lose?
Sound like you.
My fault. It's echoing. So I can't.
It may even be me. Let me mute. Hold on.
Is that better? Oh, yeah. Okay, so I had a question about cost. So I know you're saying that we're in 501c3, but then I also heard some costs associated with some things. So can you just clarify that for me, please, about cost?
Yeah. So maybe if I can go back to a slide, and then I can clarify that. Hang on 1 second. Hold on, y'all. I ain't used to using Zoom, so hold on. Give me a minute. I gotta figure out how to share my screen again. All right, here we go. All right, share screen. Here we go. All right, so if you are a 501c3, then the $3,500 of credit, the 10 M365 license, the 5 Dynamics license, and the 10 Power Apps licenses you will receive. You will also, if say you have more than 10 users, you can get additional users at the nonprofit discount, which I think is $3 a user per month. Don't quote me. But for any of these, the business premium, the Dynamics, the Power Apps license, if you have to get additional licenses, you will get those at nonprofit pricing. There's also, I didn't mention, there's also nonprofit pricing, 15% on new Surface devices. So if you need to actually buy laptops, you also get nonprofit pricing. So if you came to us and say, Darrell, we're ready to switch from Gmail over to 365, and you're a 501c3 and you in 501c3, then you will not have to pay anything. The only time that you may incur some other costs is, like I said, through the course of what you need to do as far as your tech innovation and the things that you want to do. If that gets to some level of work that is outside the scope of what the concierge team can do, and then basically we're saying, hey, we really think you need to bring in a tech partner to do the rest, then at that point, you know, you're working with them on the cost to build out that whatever thing that you're building out. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Can you share the slide again with the QR code and the website address?
Yes.
Thank you.
And I really was trying to find this document. I just got it today, and it was a really good PDF that showed the benefits between. Here it is. All right, hang on, y'all. Let me know. Yeah, I got, and I can get this sent out, aka.ms/Microsoft Communities. But I did want to at least maybe pop up this document, and then we can also we'll figure out how to get it to everybody so that you have it. But let me see if I can pull this up really quickly. All right, here it is. All right, let me share. All right. I will, like I said, I'll get it out to you, but it actually breaks down, you know, some differences, you know, even and by each kind of thing. So even when looking at email and calendar, you know, there's some differences in how it can protect your third party data. So Jasmine was asking about some security things. When we look at, teams, some limited abilities with channels, fewer connectors and integrations with Google Chat and Google Meet, but this was a really good one. Here's one too. So many organizations have been doing, live events and conferences and workshops and all these things. With Google Meet, there's no streaming to people outside of your company. Whereas Microsoft Teams has live events. You can have, 100,000 people internally. I forgot how many externally. Google Drive, differences between Yammer. So here's a really good document. I mean, even breaks down difference between Word and Docs, Excel and Sheets, PowerPoint and slides. So this is a really good document that I can make sure y'all get that breaks down the differences. And I just want to say, I want to thank, Kiana, Jody, Tariq for being able to put this on. And the one thing I really wanted to stress, and I told him I would do this. I have hundreds, and we're approaching thousands of organizations that we're working with as part of this program. And, I feel like is, my duty to make sure that not only from a technology standpoint, you all have what you have, but then also make sure that, all of the other capacity building things that you all need. So I really hope everybody, joins the rest of the series here. How many organizations I ran into that they're doing great things. We finally get them on the tech, but they're like really bad at branding and storytelling. And not being able to effectively get across what you're doing, how you're doing, because ultimately, to be able to seek those philanthropic dollars. The series that they have on budgeting. Now that y'all have seen this, I hope that maybe there's a light bulb that says, you know what, maybe we need to budget for IT like we do other things. Yes, I've just laid out, some things and ways that you can get going and get really far without spending money. But that's not going to be the case all the time. Whether it's you're needing more technology or you're going to need more staff. And those staff, some of y'all may be at a point that you really even need to have a dedicated IT person. More and more, all types of organizations, nonprofit and for-profit, are turning into more of a tech company than anything nowadays. So, just understanding that is something to budget for and not necessarily just think that, let's scrape pennies on that, but, we open budget on other things. And then the last thing that I'll let you go is part of an exercise that we do with some organizations. We do this theory of change thing where we actually, especially when it comes to the technology, but this can apply to all your businesses, helping them sit back and understand, all right, what is the impact that you're trying to get to? And then with that impact, what is the outcome that you're looking to do? Your impact may be, I'm trying to, ensure that, Black girls, have the confidence and et cetera, what they need to be successful. Okay, that is your impact. What is your outcome? What metric are you trying to reach to? Oh, within 5 years, I want to be able to, mentor X number. And by this year, I want to, mentor even more and expand to this city. And then what we do is we work on what are the things in between that get you there. And it's definitely, taking a step back and, going through, some of those exercises and those motions to make sure as an organization that, the work that you're doing is for the purpose that you set it out to. And then you're not just doing a bunch of things and a lot of busy stuff that ultimately doesn't get you to that goal you're looking for. So I'm going to leave it at that. I will definitely say, please, register, get in the program. I absolutely see no reason why anybody wouldn't. Yeah, I think that's it.
Hey, Daryl, I have one quick question before you go.
Mm-hmm.
If, like, for example, I'm a part of multiple 501c3 nonprofit organizations, would they need to be registered separately?
Yes, and
Okay.
it actually be better because that's each one of them separately.
Get separate benefits, right?
You got it. You got it.
Thank you.
Hey, Daryl, this is Jasmine again. I'm sorry, Darrell. Is there like I didn't see on your sheet if there was any kind of like social media continuum along with, because I feel like I'm piecemealing so many different types of systems and applications that
yeah. So no social media. I'm working on that. I'm trying to convince the powers that be that we need something like that. But what I'm hearing from you is you want to be able to follow and learn more and consume as much as possible. That's what you're getting at, right?
Right. There's so much data that we can collect from social media that could be wonderfully integrated with the systems that you have in a seemingly seamless way. So I was just curious if you had that connection.
Oh, you mean as a way to be able to bring in social media data?
Yes.
Oh, yes. That not necessarily like a Microsoft product, but there's been a couple kind of projects that people have, use our technology to do certain things like that. Especially around like monitoring certain keywords and things of that sort. There's out of the George Floyd thing, organization worked on monitoring police abuse and things of that sort. And when someone tweets or says something or posts a video, actually grabbing some of that social media data, bringing it into that data warehouse so things can happen. So not an out of the box Microsoft solution, but leveraging multiple Microsoft technologies, we could build a solution that does that. So yes. I think that's it. Kiana, did I hit everything we wanted to? Did anything I missed?
I think you hit it all. Are there any more questions? Well, thank you all so much for joining us today. I'm going to turn it back over to Tarek, who is going to close us out. And again, great presentation, Darrell. I appreciate you and the work that Microsoft is doing to help our community.
You're quite welcome. And thank you all. Keep doing it. When things calm down, I'm coming to Charlotte. Y'all probably hear me preaching about this some more, but I really want to get on the ground and really help as many organizations as I can in y'all's community.
I was on mute. Darrell, thank you again so much for your presentation, for engaging with us today. Really did appreciate all the aspects of this Tech Innovation Acceleration Program that you're all doing to support nonprofits and Black communities. So really thank you so much. And also want to give a big shout out to Ms. Jody Turner, who's also one of the board members who was very instrumental in ensuring that we had this workshop series. So thank you so much. As well. So talk about what's next, some next steps. And part of it is we want to be able to support you all throughout the entire process. We know that many nonprofits are looking for funding, many nonprofits are looking to develop or grow or just starting out. And part of it is understanding, integrating technology into your infrastructure. What we want to do is put together a series of events and workshops to really break down some of these opportunities as we talk about some of the grant writing basics, not just for our grant writing process, but also for the fundamentals or the foundations of grant writing. I mean, I remember 12 years ago, I told a few folks like 12 years ago, I had to go through a full week of grant management and grant writing for a certificate. And it really didn't come into bearing fruit until, 12 years later where I had to use it. And part of that is really important for many of your organizations. Even if you have someone on your team that writes your grants or have someone that you work with that's a grant writer, that's great. But the best thing that an organization can do is go and be a part of the grant writing process, because it really helps to break down everything that you can help to build up your organization and programs and be able to communicate effectively what it is that you're doing and how you're doing it. So with that, we'll have the grant writing basics. We'll have logic models and on April 21st and theories of change. Something to talk about, which is how do you put together logic models so that way, when you are writing your grant or when you submit your grant, someone who's the evaluator who's going to be looking at this can see how all these pieces fit together to get to the impact that you're trying to have. And that's important, the impact. And we'll talk about how to create that and how to create a theory of change. How do you communicate those theories of change? We'll have a little bit of budgeting, social return on investment. What kind of budget, as you're looking at your programs, looking at your projects, your organizations, what is it that investment can look like on a social return? If we're able to be successful in our mission, what is the social return to society? And how can we demonstrate or how can we calculate that? We'll also have a session about finding grant makers for you. Many of you are doing many different things, from mental health to community development to programs. And there's many nonprofits, many grant makers, grant making philanthropic organizations that are looking for, Black-led nonprofits that are doing this work. And so we want to be able to we're going to work with some systems around finding the right grant makers for you and your organization, because part of it is cultivating relationships early and often. And then when the applications and when the grant writing cycles open up, being able to respond to that application. We'll talk about storytelling for impact, which is taking the data that you are collecting, evaluating your programs, the effectiveness of it, and then creating a storyline to it. I think we do a lot of amazing work with nonprofits and seeing many of the organizations we funded, but helping them communicate their impact in a way that is going to be monumental, a way that other funders may want to be attracted to the work that you're doing. And that's very critical, because funders know other funders and they work together. So when you do storytelling for impact, one story can lead to 5 people contacting you without you knowing that you made a difference in one funder's strategy. And then bring it all together, putting together a full comprehensive grant application, what that looks like, and talking about our next cycle. Our grant cycle will open up in August, which will be during the Black Philanthropy Month. So we hope that these series of events will prepare you and your organization to be prepared for our next grant writing cycle. So thank you all for coming. Thank you all for staying. And we hope and look forward to seeing you at our next event series. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. Appreciate you. Good seeing you.
Okay. Good to see you.
Thank you, Terry. Great presentation. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you. Great to see you, AW.
You as well, Kiana. Thank you. You and Kiva, y'all keep doing it. Thank you.
Thank you. You all
Dropping
take care.
Indeed. Dropping them jewels.
Thank y'all. Great presentations.
Thank you, Alton. Have a great day. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.